The first way we're making is the one without sugar, which is for the flan, for the quiche. Because we want to pre-cook the quiche so we don't get Mary Belly's very soggy bottom. All right?
Temperature do we need the oven at?
I've got mine at 175.
175, mine's fan, is that right?
Yeah, mine's on fan as well. Your own oven, so adjust it up or down depending on how it plays. Okay?
Yeah.
So you got your 8 ounces of flour.
Yeah.
If you prefer to use margarine, that's fine. Drop the margarine in the flour and then just take it in one hand and give it a good squeeze, getting a handful of flour at the same time. Okay, once you've got it fairly floury and broken up, you put both hands in and then rub your hands together with a mixture of flour and butter in your hands.
You told us to have cold flour.
That's for the next pastry is more important. If you have any clever bits about it, it's a very simple, very quick pastry. Once you've got it into flat slices, nicely floured, like that. Can you see that? I dropped it. Like that. Then use the tips of your fingers and just rub it through. Now you could use a machine for this and just blitz it for 30 seconds till you end up with the same crumb looking thing. So then it's a mixture with your fingertips and with your palms, just rubbing it to mold it into the flour. If you've got a good quality butter, it should end up looking a little bit like sand. Now with all short pastry mixes, you can do what you like to it until you put liquid in it. Once you put liquid in it, you need to touch it as little as possible.
I'm still trying to get the
so
breadcrumb. I've still got lumps of...
Keep going.
Keep going. I've got a sort of sandy looking texture. Okay, then make a hole in the middle, a bit like a donut. Can you see that? Okay, and drop your 1 egg into that space. This is the good bit. Now, you want to just use your right hand or your left hand, whichever is your predominant hand. Then you make a hole in the center and drop the egg into the hole.
Okay, do we need to crack the egg?
Yeah, that's generally best then, Andy. Okay?
Yeah, egg fire.
Okay, you want to make something, this is a dead one, but turn it up that way like a rake. Stir the mixture so that you bring in a little bit of flour every time.
Geoff, can I just ask you an apple question?
You can ask an apple question.
How'd you make an apple puff?
Not that
Let
one.
it roll down the road.
Yeah. Well, if I've got it boiling in the pan, just to sort of very soften it up a bit, do you put sugar in with it or not?
No, well, it depends on your apples, darling. When they're nearly cooked, have a taste.
Right.
If you think they're sweet enough for you, then don't add sugar. If you think they need a bit of sugar for your taste, put a little bit of sugar in.
Okie doke, lovely.
Thank you. That's a flash of brandy.
Right, are we ready to move along?
What are you doing?
Right. With the fingers of your right hand, just gently stir the flour and egg mixture together. Now, the quicker you can bring this together, the better. You don't want to be overworking it. It's not bread dough. For this sort of pastry, for those of you who don't like eating eggs or are vegan or something, you can use milk or water.
Some cheese or anything. Nothing.
Well, it popped up in it.
Oh,
No.
can you what?
You should end up with a pastry ball and a relatively clean bowl. At this point, you can clean off your hands by rubbing them together onto the cook board with your pastry. Put it on your board, Ed. Turn your pastry onto your board. Or work surface.
Mix all that in.
Yeah. So you've got around Now, because my container for my quiche is round, you make your pastry round. Obviously, if you're doing a square quiche, you make it a square pastry. Okay, so have you got it on your table?
Yeah.
Right, make sure you've got your container to put it in handy.
Yeah.
And you want a rolling pin. A rolling pin. Or you can use a milk bottle if you've got a milk bottle.
That's a big one, Jeffrey.
Well, you can have one, Vin, you might as well have a big one. Have we all reached the stage where we got some pastry? You want to pin your pastry out so it makes a large oval.
Okay.
An oval. Then turn it through 90 degrees. Do the same again. Okay, so you end up, it now should be more or less round. If it breaks out a little at the edges, it doesn't really matter. Through 90 degrees again and carry on rolling. Once it's the size of your container, stop rolling.
Should I flour the surface?
Yes.
Yeah, flour the surface.
Did he say that?
I did.
Stick yours to the surface, Dad.
Who?
We've got a little bit of a crisis.
What is he
He's
rolling?
Dad stuck into his worktop.
We're not floured.
Right, we ready?
Yeah. Now
Have you got that, Pib?
Yeah, you chuck more flour, but you didn't say anything.
Yeah, just keep it floured so it doesn't stick.
On both sides.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, otherwise it'll stick to your rolling pin.
I've never made toasting before.
Jeff, do we need to grease the flan dish?
No, because of the quantity of fat that's in the pastry, you shouldn't need to grease your tin.
Okay, ours has got a solid bottom though, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Mine's a sort of solid bottom, but it's just a bit of a floppy bottom.
Oh, okay.
What happens today?
Work out.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, then use your rolling pin to pick up your paste. The side that was down on the table, you will find has got cracks and holes in it.
Yeah.
So you turn it the other way up because the side you've been rolling is probably smoother. So you've got a presentation side and a non-presentation side. And then gently feed your pastry, into the pantry. Okay, so you can see it's a bit high on one side and a bit low on the other side. It doesn't matter, you can just transfer some from the high side to the low side by taking it off and pushing it into place. Now this wouldn't do for competition work, but for eating it's fine. I want you to press down firmly, very firmly with your hand in the middle on the bottom. Okay, like that. Push down quite hard. You won't hurt it. What you're going to do is make sure there's no air trapped underneath the pastry. Because when you're baking it empty, it will pop up in the middle if there's air underneath.
Ah.
This is why they often see them using baking beans.
Andy's got some baking beans.
Yeah.
Well, you can use them if you like, but I've never used them.
Oh.
If it does pop up during the cooking, it pops up early. Yeah. Keep an eye on it. You can take it out the oven and push it back down again. I want you to squeeze your pastry from the bottom corner, making sure you don't get a wedge there. Because there's nothing like a wedgie in the bottom of your pie. So you want as close as you can get to a 90-degree bend in that bottom corner. And then push it quite firmly against the sides, again to make sure you get all the air out.
Which is why you don't want one of these flexible tins, because
they're bloody rubbish.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, you should only have a little bit of pastry sticking over the top of your flan ring. And if you use your thumb and forefinger, you can squeeze it into a little mound that just slightly overhangs the side. I'm having trouble getting one of my bits to stick. So I'm brushing the pastry in the flan with a bit of water so that it will stick better. So then use your fingers to turn the flan round and squeeze it into the sides. Then make your sides up. Go on. You can then leave your flan at that stage if you want to, or you can crimp the edges. Crimping is where you use your thumb and forefinger on your one hand and your index finger on the other hand. Put your thumb and forefinger together, poke your index finger into the left. Right, so you use your thumb and your forefinger on the outside of the flan, put it down on the pastry, and poke the index finger into the gap between your thumb and forefinger.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, that's it.
If you've got long nails, it don't work terribly well, you just cut slices.
That's what I was just saying to Jason. I was saying I just poked loads of holes in it.
That's right. You can cheat by using the side of your forefinger, Ollie. Who's in the bottom, go round and fill them back up by just pushing down around the hole. And you should end up with something looking roughly like that. And then pop it in the oven for about 12 minutes. Just like that. Oh, well, you're only baking the pastry blind. You've got no filling in there yet. Okay?
Yeah. 12 minutes we need.
That's the hot side.
That's right.
Where's the
For those of you that can't tell, Geoff is now getting ready to do the apple pie pastry.
Warm hands. Are you listening?
Yeah.
If you've got warm hands, and I'm sure somebody close to you can tell you, you then need to wash your hands in cold water quite long, for quite a good period. Right. When I had students, I used to make them wash their hands in cold water till their hands hurt. Sweet York pastry is it sweat. You can make it sweat, and then it goes horrible.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
When you've got your hands nice and cool, and your butter now comes from the fridge, Andy, because you want to keep everything as cool as possible.
Anything come in your hand with an ice cube, Dad?
Yeah.
Me too.
Right. I want you to put your 4 ounces of butter into the container, into your bowl. You should be able to use the same bowl.
Oh, yeah.
All to the 4 ounces of butter, sorry, add all your sugar.
25 grams.
25 grams or 1 ounce for those that are grown up. With your right hand, if you're right hand, with your left hand, if you're left-handed, I want you to cream this with your fingertips. The idea being is you want to get the sugar to dissolve as much as possible in the fat. Because otherwise you'll get nasty little brown specks in your pie crust. Okay?
With your fingers.
Roll the butter about in the sugar. And it will quickly take all the sugar in. And then the idea is just to cream it. So if you support it in your left arm or your right arm if you're left-handed, and then just beat it with your fingertips.
When you say beat it, are we trying to mush this up into a spelty thing?
Have you got it into a lump yet, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, now squish it down onto the bottom with your hand.
Yeah.
And give it a really good beat with your fingertips.
I think our fridge must be too cold.
Use your muscles.
I haven't got any muscles. You didn't say anything about seafood.
Crack the egg. Crack the egg into a
This one I made earlier.
They didn't hear that very good, which is just well.
And then gently stir it with a fork.
What?
The
Yeah.
egg, that is. In the meantime,
No,
keep
in
beating
a
your
separate
butter.
bowl. Crack it in a bowl.
Did you not have spoons back in the day?
What would
We're
you
doing
use a
this
spoon
not
for?
fingers.
You're not eating it yet. In the words of my instructor when I was a young man, what do you think your right arm's for, Parsons? You can do better than that. You got both hands dirty, Michelle. You're a bad girl.
Did you
One
want
hand
the
can
egg?
be-
Hang on. Oh. Jeff, the egg, are we whisking it or slowly
No,
stirring it?
No,
Just give
gently.
it. You just want it broken up. That's all, Pib.
There's a little point up the top there, though. Is that being nicked?
Don't worry about it, Karen. Just stir it in.
What's it so hard to do?
Okay. So you should now be getting your butter and sugar should now be lightening, as in the colour should be fading and the sugar should be dissolving. And you should only have one hand in there.
Is the egg in there?
To hold it for you.
Yeah, I can see, Michelle. Very good.
Have we put the egg in yet?
No, don't do that. Use your left hand, your non-stirring hand. Are you right-handed, Michelle? And take hold of your finger at the bottom with your thumb and forefinger. Squeeze it tightly and slide it up. And then you can flick it off of there into there. Okay. Now you can add half your egg.
Right, half an egg.
Half your egg. And then mix that in. With your right hand only, Michelle.
You just don't do all this hand mixing stuff. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're not going to eat this egg.
Put a bit of effort into it. That it. You should get all that bit of egg to go in quite nicely, so you end up with a smooth, slightly yellower mix.
Oh, this curdled. I think you've done something wrong.
You didn't mix it hard enough the first time. Give it a really good mix. Should be starting to sweat a little bit, Holly.
Oh yeah, I've only got little girl on.
It's not your arm to the issue, it's your hand. When you get to the point where it's nice and smooth and creamy, add the rest of the egg. Keeping one hand cleans enables you to pick things up and put it in with your mix. And hold the bowl. I'm going to dip it in. And then whisk that with your fingers.
His egg. Your egg.
Half of it. Yeah.
Jeff,
Yes.
out of interest, what sort of bowl do you recommend? Because Andy's ceramic bowl broke a couple of weeks back, so he's using a plastic one at the moment. Does that matter or not?
No,
really?
this is a plastic one.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to have stainless steel ones when I was in the Air Force, when I was doing this.
That's what I want to get, a stainless steel one.
Yeah, but I've got a plastic one here. I thought it'd be good because you can see from the side. Clean off your right hand with your left hand, like I showed Michelle. Put a teaspoonful of your flour in there. We all got a mix that resembles something in the bottom of the bowl.
Resembles something, I'm not sure what it is. Scrambled egg?
Has it come back together, Andy?
Not yet, mate.
What are you doing there? I bet you've got roasting hot hands, haven't you?
No, just eat cheese.
They are now, they've been in the bowl for
That's
about
cost
half
in
an
it,
hour.
couldn't you? Not too cheesy.
What you got, Ed?
Flan's done.
Jeff, our pastry flat.
Take it out, put it on the side of the stove. When your flan's ready, take it out, put it on the side of the stove. It should be a pale colour. There shouldn't be any colour in it yet. And it should be cooked in the bottom. Yeah.
In a minute.
The wonderful Janice Elaine is just removing my flan from the oven. Once you put the flour in, stir it as little as possible.
Okay.
Okay?
Little.
Is everybody with me?
With you.
Hey,
All the ones I can't see on the screen in front of me are probably going to bed if they got any damn sense. Add the rest of your flour.
how much flour?
8 ounces. You got your 8 ounces of flour. Use your right hand only.
If we don't use them,
And just stir it in.
Mix it.
Just use your fingers and a sort of squeezing motion.
Should we bringing it together?
Yeah, it should all come together. Use a squeezing motion of your hand and get it all off the sides of the bowl. Right. Once you got your piece of pastry out of your bowl, just put some down. That's it. That's lovely. That's enough to come in. Put some flour on your work surface, Andy.
Yes, darling.
Okay. And then right. The pastry on the floured board, and with a gentle rocking motion, roll it away from you and then turn it through 90 degrees. Push down with the heel of your hand. The heel of your hand is the bit at the bottom here. So you sort of fold it. Shut up, Craig. You sort of fold it in half and then fold it back. Just you're going to be very gentle with this, not rough at all. So you shouldn't end up with a big crease down the middle.
It's not rough puff.
No, it's not rough puff or bread. Turn it through 90 degrees and do it again. Repeat by pushing down with your heel and rolling back towards you. Make sure you got the flour. And repeat that 4 or 5 times. Your pastry should now look quite smooth.
Being gentle. I'm treating it like a fine woman.
Okay. Put it back in the mixing bowl and pop it in the fridge for a rest because you can tell it's tired. Stop patting it, Michelle. No wonder Craig always looks so tired. Right. Right. Here I've got the filling for my quiche.
It'd be really cross. Get it up now.
Okay, I've got onions, I've got peppers, I've got some asparagus.
I'm not done yet.
Right, so your quiche filling, this is just the meaty bit and the veggie bit. I've sweated it off in a little bit of butter with a lid on it on a very low heat for about 6 minutes. It's not browned or anything, it's just cooked because it won't cook in the quiche on its own. Because quiche won't be in the oven long enough.
Okay.
Okay. And you just basically throw that in the bottom of the dish. You can put this in hot if you want to, it doesn't matter.
Put a bit of cheese with it. Can we put that in at the same point?
Yeah, that's where I'm just going to get to now, Pip.
All right, mate. Just waiting for my sous chef to come back with the ingredients.
Yeah, I know. You can't get the staff, Andy, I know.
I think she's going to have to go, Geoff.
And then spread your thing across the bottom of your flan so it sort of covers the base. Then I've got some grated cheese here. If I was in the UK, I'd obviously be using cheddar, but as I'm not in the UK, I'm stuck with this rubbish. Just sprinkle that across the top. There's about 3 ounces there.
Need a bowl.
And just spread it across the top of your flan.
Here's your ingredient.
I've also got some mozzarella.
Oh, I tell you what we've got.
So what do you do with the mozzarella? Tear it or?
I'm going to just cut it into slices and dot it around it.
What, after you poured it onto the flan?
No, I've just got the mozzarella in my hand now. Yeah. With a knife. I'm just going to cut it into slices. And then just lay them on the top of the flan in a random sort of fashion. It's like a pizza, yeah, basically, yeah. Not too close. Right, can you see that?
Yeah.
And I've got 4 of the tops of the asparagus that I saved that I'm going to just place on in a decorative fashion. Ish. Eggs into a measuring jug.
One egg.
And then I'm going to top that up with milk to 500 millilitres, which is about just under a pint. Because I know this dish takes that amount of liquid.
500 millilitres.
So 500 mils of milk.
Yeah, 500 millilitres, including the egg, Andy.
Including the egg, sorry.
Yeah, put the egg in the dish first and then put your milk on top.
Right?
Man, well done. Right, so here's my 500 millilitres of egg mixture. That's 2 eggs and 500, and the rest is topped up with milk, which should just about fit in. Don't go over the top of your pie crust. Just going to put a scraping of parmesan on the top, because I can.
Do you want salt and pepper in the milk?
No, because you've got a lot of salt and that in the bacon.
4 bits, that's all.
I
feel like it.
If you haven't got any bacon, yeah, put a bit of salt and pepper in. And then pop the whole thing in the oven. For about 30 minutes. You want it to be a delicate, you want a delicate brown colour on the top, not burnt. And make sure the egg is cooked right the way through. You should be able to move it and it will shake like a sort of soggy blancmange. Are we ready to move along with the other pastry? Get your other pastry back out from the fridge.
Hold hands again.
Get the other bit.
Yes, hold hands again.
Hold hands.
I'm using a muffin tin to make individual apple pies because I don't have my only pie dish is the one I got in the oven with a quiche in it. So I'm going to use this one. So these are muffin ones. They're quite deep. I like these because they get a lot of filling and not too much pastry. If you're doing a regular pie,
That's the wrong way around. You want a lot of pastry and not a lot of fruit.
If you don't want to do them, it's fine. You can do a big pie or a little pie, whichever suits you best.
Have we got enough pastry for a big pie?
Depends how big you mean by a big pie, Pib. It will probably do. That's a bit big, I think. What? Right. Can you tell me what diameter that is?
Can you not turn that?
It's about 8 inches in old money.
In old money, yeah. You'll find that piece of pastry will just about fill it like it did the flan, the one we did first.
And we need a lid.
Yeah, you really need 12 ounces to do a top as well.
Do you need to grease it, Geoff?
No, darling, because if you've got more than half of your pastry is fat, you don't need to grease your containers.
Okay.
But I'm gonna cheat because these are quite deep. I make up little paper cake cases to go in.
Oh, very cool.
Well, if you take, I know this glass fits in here like that. Sorry, you can't see that. It fits in there like that. If you take the glass and turn it upside down, get some grease-proof paper, drop it on the top, and stroke it down.
So it'd be nice making muffins.
Yeah, I use it all the time for anything that goes into these little tins, because it's a real pain. You've gone all the trouble to make it, and that'd be good, Andy.
Grease-proof in there?
You shouldn't need grease-proof in there. Okay. No, that's a pie dish. You want a flan dish, really?
A what?
You want a flan dish?
A flan dish.
Well, yeah, there's 3. You get a flan, you get a pie, and you get a tart. Okay, a pie, generally speaking, only has a top on it. A tart, generally speaking, has a bottom at the top, and a flan only has a bottom. We plan to do apple pies, which means you need a bottom and a top. Have you got something like Andy's got, that Pyrex dish?
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Here's one he prepared earlier, yeah.
The lid off.
Right, is everybody ready? You need to save 1/3 of your pastry. You keep a third of your pastry to one side. If your kitchen's very warm, pop it back in the fridge.
Little bit.
Yes, I will. Okay. Put some flour on your board, Andy.
There is flour already there.
And everybody else. And then take the 2/3 piece is for the bottom of your pie.
That's going to be a lot of pastry.
Okay? This is for the bottom. Okay? Sweet short pastry doesn't like being rolled out more than once. So you've got to be careful doing it. If you do it twice or 3 times, it will go hard and crunchy and not be nice. Make it into the shape of your pie dish, in this case round.
What's the matter with it? Is it raw?
Put plenty of flour down and plenty of flour on the top. Put your flat of your hand on top of your pastry and push down.
He's using muffins.
Flour.
Yeah, but he's making.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then you want to gently roll this out so it's the same size as whatever tin you're using.
For that one.
You want it no bigger than the wings on there.
Round.
You want it, yeah, roll it out round so it's no bigger than the wings sticking out the side. Ours is 17 centimetres,
It's the same as
which is slightly less than 8 inches.
the height of it.
How are we doing? Do you want to measure?
Now the height of the don't worry about the height.
This is 8.
Oh,
Yeah, that should be fine. You'll need to roll this piece of pastry out quite thin. Make sure you flour it well. Okay? When you're ready, flour the top of your pastry and just brush it across.
Done that, yeah.
Pick it up on your rolling pin and lay it down on your pie upside down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now don't push down in the middle. Do not push down in the middle. Lift the sides up and feed it down in. Lift the sides up all the way round and feed it down in. Are you all right there, Holly?
I think so.
Yeah, we're good.
Feeding it down. I'm not pushing in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, don't push down in the middle because that'll stretch your pastry. Lift it up and push it down from the sides.
Okay.
Only push down from the side so you feed your pastry in. Right into the corners again.
Down there.
Before just over the course of
Okay. So you end up with something looking like that.
If I left it, it'll probably fall.
If you take your filling,
That's it.
And
Well
fill
done, Holly.
Thank you.
and fill the middle of your pie.
So I'll put the cinnamon in with the apple.
If you want to, I'm going to put it on the top.
Okay.
You can put it in with it or you can put it on the top, whichever suits you best.
Okay.
I use 4 ordinary eating apples for this. Fill your pie quite liberally, don't be mean. This is for you to eat, not to sell.
Not the grass strip.
Yeah, can do, yeah.
Okay? Have we all got our pie bases filled?
Oh, yeah.
Sprinkle your cinnamon on the top to your own taste.
Cinnamon?
You want cinnamon?
Or not, if you don't want to, it doesn't matter. Put your pie to one side for a minute and get your other piece of pastry. Right? And then repeat the process you had with the first piece of pastry. Push down firmly with the flat of your hand and then roll it out. Yeah, you want this only the size of your dish, no bigger.
Alright.
And the butter as well.
Right, you should now have a pie base that's filled and a pie top. You want a shot glass full of water.
Oh.
Just cold tap water, Michelle.
That's my wife's idea. of a shot glass.
Whichever one it was.
You mean a full glass of wine?
Yes, of course you do.
You should always have a glass of wine handy, yes. Brush the top sides of your pie outside your apple. Okay, brush it quite liberally. It should go sort of whitey looking. Not completely white, but it should have white streaks. And then
What
pick
you
up
brush
the top
top of the pie with?
with,
Butter.
with water, Eddie. Just round the rim.
All right.
Nice that you roll it back.
Then use your rolling pin to pick up the top. Pick it up gently as one piece. And lay it on top the right way up. Same way as it is on the rolling board.
Right.
With your thumb and forefinger, go right the way round the pie and push the two lots of pastry together firmly. Don't go ridiculous. Then take a knife and cut off vertically the surplus. Don't cut it inside the pie dish, cut it right outside the pie dish.
Did it just fell off?
For those of you that have got the little wingy things on their pie dish, trim it off level with the rest. Keep the pieces to one side.
Oh, okay.
Those of you who are doing quiches, have a look at your quiches.
Oh, quiche. Yeah, there's our quiche.
Still good.
There's our quiche.
8 minutes, 40 seconds to go, Chef.
Right.
8 minutes, 40 seconds to go.
Okay.
Right in the edge.
Now go round your pie again and make a little ridge using your thumb and forefinger to pinch. So you end up with a little ridge around the outside of your pie. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Just there. Just go round with your thumb and forefinger.
There,
Over the top of the ring.
Pinching. Are we pinching like sideways on or like top
At
to
the
bottom?
moment you're pinching sideways, yes, just going round the pie. This has a double thing, it makes it look better and it seals the pastry. So you should end up with something looking a bit like that. Put a bit of flour on your fingers.
Your wife's put the flour away.
That's exactly what Jason's done. He's wiped all the flour off the side.
And then grip the sides as you did before with your thumb and forefinger and your forefinger.
That's to make it look pretty.
There you go. Like that.
Now turn it up to this way.
Hold up to the camera, Pip. Your fingers aren't that big, you bugger.
I know how to use my willy.
Make a small hole. Make a small hole in the top to let the air out when it starts to cook. Just a small one.
And not all the way through.
Just through the top lid, that's all.
We've got low battery.
Okay, take your water and your pastry brush and liberally brush the surface of your pie.
Took the sugar on.
Once it's nice and damp, bring it in with sugar.
Sugar?
All right.
Sugar. It's a sweet pie. The sugar gives it a nice glazed finish.
Sprinkle some sugar on it.
Just granulated.
Yeah, just granulated. Put as much on until the water dries off on the top of the pie.
What's that?
All right, I've got a,
So it looks like that.
Finish,
I've
stop.
got a break.
And then pop your pie in the oven with your quiche.
It was a must come
How long does the pie take?
Left over.
About 30 minutes.
Left over.
What for?
shapes.
But it's
Don't worry about it, it's
important you
fine.
make sure the bottom's cooked.
The middle of the oven or the bottom of the oven?
Where at middle or bottom of the oven, Uncle Geoff?
I would put it in the middle or the bottom, not the top.
Any more? It'll break again.
With your last bit of pastry, mould it as best you can into a lump.
Because it's being cooked.
Got more to pick.
Flatten it out. Till it's about 1/4 of an inch thick, give or take. The pastry cutter, cut it into circles or squares or whatever you fancy.
How long has it got to go?
Sorry?
No, that is about 1/4 of an inch.
Again, brush it lightly with water. If you haven't got any left, don't worry about it. You're not going to use these. These are for the kids. And then lay your little circles that are wet, upside down, wet side down, onto a little saucer of sugar.
Put down the saucer of sugar.
You do?
What do you do with it?
Fine.
All right.
Put them on a clean baking sheet. And then pop them in the oven with your pie. They will only take about 10 minutes. Is everybody got their quiche at the oven now?
Yeah. Another trinity. Give it.
Eddie, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm like my school report. Could have done better. And I'm always late. I'm that last one at the school. That's always doing it at last minute.
That's because we couldn't get out of bed, you bugger.
No, I didn't do the quiche.
Oh,
Very good.
Oh, look at that. Yummy.
That's the first one I've ever made, mate, and I'm looking forward to eating it.
You've got a silicone pie dish there.
I have, yeah.
Does that make a big difference with just pushing it out and?
No, I don't think it does, because you can't pick the thing up.
Yeah.
Although it's cooked now, you can't get your hand underneath to lift it out.
Right.
Given a choice, I'd always go with a spring-loaded flan ring.
Okay.
Do you know the ones I mean?
Yeah, so it got underneath so it separates up.
Yeah, no, not just that, but this is a cake tin, but it's basically the same as a flan tin, but it's too deep, obviously, you can see.
Yeah.
But it's got this spring on the side.
Yeah.
So when you take it out the oven, you undo the spring, and this expands slightly, and you can just lift it off. Cool. And that's ideal for quiches. You can really change it for quiches. In one place I used to work, we used to spread tomato paste on the bottom of the pie dish and then put the filling on the top of that. And that was really a nice one as well.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
There goes that one.
Hi, Jan.
Don't forget your little biscuity things, which are nearly ready.
Oh, yes, yeah.
The what?
The little biscuity things.
All right. How long's the pie in for?
30 minutes.
About 30 minutes, Ed.
Got another 18 minutes to go.
Now, these are my biscuits. You can see they got a crust of sugar on the top of them. If you want to store them, put them back in the oven when you finish with the oven.
You want to what?
If you want to save these biscuits so that you make them nice and dry, when the oven is starting to cool, put them back in the oven and leave them in there till the oven's cold. And that will dry them right out.
Is that biscotti? Is that twice cooked?
Twice cooked. That's how they twice cook them, yeah. Okay? But they're perfectly good to eat now.
Biscotti.
We'll have one each now and then we'll put them back in the oven when it's cooling down.
When it's cooling down, yeah. Otherwise, you just put them in anyway. They'll just burn, of course. But if you put them in the cooling oven and just leave them till the oven cools, keep an eye on them when you first put them in, so they don't, you know, you had
incinerate.
So you could mix grated orange rind with that, with the mix, and have
Yeah,
an
you could
orangey
put
type one.
grated orange rind, grated lemon rind, a few almonds.
Flipping it about.
That's true, because that's always what I do.
Both those pastries you can't play with excessively.
Yeah.
Or you make the gluten in the flour work, and then the whole thing becomes hard and tough.
Yeah, see, that's the science you need to know, isn't it? What's happening to it? Why
Yeah,
not?
The best you can handle it. I always make it on the blender.
All right.
I just sling it all in the blender, give it a whack for 30 seconds, and it's in a lump, and I take it out and roll it out.
Have it annoying, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're about getting warm.
Yeah, it doesn't get warm because you haven't got your hands in there. Or if you leave it in too long, it'll get warm because the blade, as it goes round, is creating heat.
I think sometimes you worry too much about the sort of how it looks before you bake it.
Yeah.
And that was perfect. That was beautiful pastry. It was a real short crust.
Yeah,
it is. It's a nice crust on it, isn't it?
It was lovely, mate. Yeah, stunning.
Talking about gluten, Geoff, would gluten-free flour be easier to work with, or huh?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it'll tend to fall to pieces. It'll be hard as a rock.